All right, so this is from Leslie Ann. Barbara, I want you to know that I was listening and taking careful mental notes. Those times I could sit next to you and just listen were the most fantastic present. I'm so incredibly thankful for all those summers I could spend at the country playhouse with you. You have taught me so much over the years, and I know that my parents tried to impart these things as well. But when Barbara talked, I really listened. You taught me how to grow, to listen actively, to speak carefully and mindfully. Barbara was the person who was able to look at me, deconstruct my worries, and tell me that I would be all right, that I was good enough. But Babs also showed me to take what life throws with poise and a strong dose of humor. And good grief, thank you for teaching me how to plant my feet. I attribute the undergraduate research project I have to you. You showed me to stand up and ask for what I want. She's so special to so many of us who knew her, and I'm confident she will continue to be a force in our lives.
And this is from Katie Krause, a very good friend of mine, and she wishes she could be here. The first time I met Barbara Lasater was the way most of her students met her. I pulled up to the country playhouse one afternoon wondering what the hell it was I was getting into. I had done the musical theater workshop thing before around town, and although I had a passion for theater, I was starting to wonder if this was really my scene. I walked into the theater on what I'm sure was a sweltering hot summer day to find this lovely woman wearing a loose button-down shirt, denim capris, and by far the most hideous pair of Converse sneakers known to man. I couldn't tell you who I met that day, what her school was like, or really anything else of remote importance, but I could remember her. And I remember wanting to do whatever I could to somehow make this woman proud of me. Cut to a few years later, and I'm in the midst of a nearly maddening high school theater department that was unnecessarily critical and political, and it once again made me wonder, what was I doing in the theater world? Did I have a future? What good was this really doing me? Thankfully, every Wednesday afternoon, I'd sneak away to the country playhouse, where I'd spend the next 3 hours with my fellow ragtag players, soaking up whatever I could from the great Miss Lasater. We all idolized her. It was almost a bit creepy. I used to get into competitions with my friends to be the first one to get to the theater every week, just so we could get to talk to Barbara one-on-one, ask her questions about life and theater and the future. And much like Obi-Wan Kenobi, she'd not only tell us everything that we needed to hear, but somehow would make us feel at ease about all the uncertainty we had in our lives. Don't get me wrong, the following 3 hours every week of actual rehearsal were equally fun. We'd spend those doing our best to make her laugh so hard she'd fall out of her seat, and she usually did. What Barbara never bragged about or shared with others was how generous she was with her students. There came a point in my time in high school where my family just couldn't afford to keep sending me to theater class, and I was heartbroken. The concept of not being able to run off to my refuge every week made me feel lost. But before I even had time to dwell on such a premise, I received an email from Barbara telling me that I was welcome to attend her classes on full scholarship whenever I wanted. Her presence was persistent in these crucial years of transitioning into adulthood. She helped me get my first stage managing gig. She was the letter of recommendation that landed me my theater scholarship. She was the person that gave me a job fresh out of college when I moved back to Houston. She was always so ready to help me out for absolutely nothing in return other than wanting to see me succeed. Then one day I received news that changed my life forever. At age 22, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. All of a sudden, my life was filled with many more questions and uncertainty than I was ready for. I was devastated. While all my other friends were running off to follow their dreams, I put my life on hold to go through cancer treatment. The whole situation was sort of absurd, and so of course, with Barbara being Barbara, I received an email saying, "What can I do? Please let me be a part of this. I want to be there in any way I can. You are young and strong." So we would meet, we would have coffee, non-fat mochas with wit, if you're wondering. We would share battle stories from chemo and radiation and all the weird things they make you do, and then we'd make incredibly inappropriate cancer jokes at our own expense. By the time I was starting radiation, Barbara was beginning her annual summer musical workshop and asked me to come help. So I did, with my Q-tip head and all. And once again, like anything she approached in life, Barbara welcomed me with open arms and an open heart. I would sit there and just watch her work every day, amazed that this multiple-time cancer warrior with an injured hip could somehow manage to find the energy every day to get up and teach these kids for 5 or 6 hours. She became my idol, and even more than she already was. Shortly after the workshop, I went into remission and was able to continue on with my life plans. I moved to Chicago back in August this year to begin following my dreams. And when I came back to Houston this month, I was able to visit Barbara shortly while she was in the hospital. She asked me how my improv classes were, and being the wonderful teacher that she was, she wanted to know what I had learned. I told her I had come to value the art of listening because of how important it was in improv. She nodded thoughtfully and then wrote to me on the whiteboard she was using to communicate. Listening is everything. She then proceeded to ask how my health was, how I was feeling, and I told her I felt great. Then she said some words to me that I will never forget. She told me, "Never stop fighting." I'll admit I left the hospital sort of confused by her words. My cancer battle had long been over, and I knew that I had the rest of my life to look forward to. So this past week, all I've been doing is thinking about those words she said to me, "Never stop fighting." And I realized that those words don't just apply to a battle with cancer. They apply to the entire rest of life. One must always fight to live to the fullest, to not give up on their dreams, to not stop believing in the good of other people, to just keep living. And if there's one word to describe Barbara Lasater, it would be fighter. So Barbara, here I am, in Chicago, Illinois as we speak, fighting to pursue my dreams, and because of you, I will never stop fighting. Bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet full form, as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
It well may be that we may never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you have it in mind by hearing my breath. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you,